Alrighty, we are live for What the Swag Part Do. So this is the second year we've done this.
Your
I
French
want to
accent is impeccable.
thank you. I thought so. It's a shout out to Hot Shots Part Do if anybody knows that movie. But very excited to be here. We've got a ton of panelists here giving their thoughts on various swag. Shout out to Robin's boot camp and all the vendors who participated. Everybody gave me I had bags of swag to use from that event for the purposes of today. And part of it's kind of the fun. What's hot, what's not. We'll put different things up in front of the camera, and the group will talk about it. But we also want to have a conversation around sustainability with products. Is swag actually worth it? Is it worth more to the partners than it is to the prospects? Things like that. And, I think there's going to be some disagreements among the panel here. I know there's going to be. And I actually really look forward to it. And please comment as much as you want during this. It's meant to be a webinar for everybody. There's very few webinars that are designated for vendors, and I know we'll have some MSPs in the attendance as well, but it's a kind of a unique opportunity for the vendor community to kind of talk amongst ourselves, even though we're definitely live all over the place, so keep that in mind. But I'll go ahead and we'll have everybody do a quick introduction, and then we'll kind of jump in. Caitlin, why don't you do a quick introduction of yourself?
So I'm Caitlin. I work for Channel Program. I'm the VP of Community Engagement. So swag is something that's very close to my heart, and it's something that I have been managing for the last 10 years in the channel. If anybody has anything AVIC or IT glue related, IT glue from the early days, that probably came from me. So I look forward to this webinar every year because I am opinionated about swag. So, and I'm very picky. So I think with this group, it's going to be a good conversation.
Absolutely. Ashley.
I am Ashley Cooper. I'm the VP of Customer Experience at Roos. Before that, I worked at several other vendors and solution providers, including at AVIC with Caitlin. So we had plenty of conversations about swag together. I come from it from the perspective of what is the motivational and psychological associations that we attach to the things that we receive and that we give, and what makes us really like drive and band together. So that's what I love talking about.
Excellent. I think you got is that a goot? Is that what you guys call that thing?
Yeah.
President.
All right, Kelsey.
My name is Kelsey. I am the Community Engagement Manager at CyberQP, formerly QuickPass Cybersecurity. And I have not, I don't have 10 years experience, but I feel like I got a little bit extra years experience because all of our swag was warehoused in my apartment last year. So I am just very familiar with the hundreds and hundreds of things. And, I'm always fascinated on the logistics behind all of it and who orders it, how it gets there, and everything in between. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
I just want to say that, Kelsey, I feel like with how much you travel, you have 10 years under your belt.
They're like dog years, right?
Yeah, it's like channel years. You just have to multiply by 6 and carry the 1, and then you...
Right. Airline miles go in there somewhere. I agree.
Yeah.
And last but not least, the first lady of swag, Mary. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mary Manus, and I'm with Bell Tech Services and do business development there. And I love swag for multiple reasons. I think it's fun. I think it's a great way to market. Yes, some things are very useful. Some things are just not. And some are totally just for fun or to give away to your kids or, your neighbor. It's sad if somebody spends money and they take it off the table and put it in the first trash can. We'd like to avoid that, to have things that are useful that people enjoy. And also when they might need something, they'll think of that business that they've seen over and over again, or the shirt at the pool, or maybe that koozie. So yeah, I find a lot of good things about swag.
Yeah, well, and I think you brought up something that we're definitely going to discuss is whether that actually occurs, whether it does trigger somebody to reach out at some point. And I think that's going to be, it's. I don't think there's ever going to be a 100% agreement on that, but definitely a topic that we'll discuss here. And again, as a reminder, so Mary's the one MSP on this panel, so just kind of as a vendor, I think it's important to hear what she has to say regarding that. Because she comes from a different perspective than the rest of us might. So, all right, I've got them in my hand. So why don't we kick things off with? Wow, I didn't realize when I did it, but everybody kind of went in on the sunglasses. I'll put on one because I do think this one has a better backstory. But just general thoughts on sunglasses. And Kelsey, I'll let you chime in because I know Quick Pass with CyberQP was in on it. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. I love vendor sunglasses because I'm very much so the kind of person to like just toss sunglasses in my backpack and hope they don't get crushed. So I love having a bunch of cheapy sunglasses around. I've actually talked to an MSP who was like, oh, I collect these and I keep them on my boat. So whenever I have people on my boat who don't have sunglasses, like boom, I've got extra. I also really loved having them at our own table because they were really nice to hold your hair back like while you're working at the booth. We've not got sunglasses since we rebranded, and every day I'm like, can I get sunglasses again? Or I have so many pairs. I really like them. I like keeping them right next to my front door. I can just grab something as I run out. I do have prescription sunglasses that I should wear, but I like the fun colors and options. So I like them. I am pro swag sunglasses.
So I'm mixed on the sunglasses front. First of all, Matt, the Eric Torres look should be kept to Eric Torres. I know.
Wow, that is
those are scale pad sunglasses.
But I have a point that I'm going to make after you say what you got to say.
So I'm mixed with them. I think that destination specific, they could go really, really well. Like NerdioCon, for example, in Cancun, like the amount of times I've gone to the airport and like bought overpriced sunglasses at duty free because like I forgot a pair. Great option. I did have like an OG pair of Dado sunglasses from like 2016 in my car until just recently, which was amazing. But for the most part, I'm not a Ray-Bans like Wayfarer girl. So a lot of those styles are not really something that I like gravitate to. But
we run into people who wear glasses full time are always like, no, I don't want those.
I can't I can't wear them.
So here's where I will chime in on these ones, and that's why I put them on. I like the story behind this one, right? So like it plays into Eric Torres, and obviously a lot of people know him in the space, partner or not. I think it's kind of a fun gimmick, right? It's like, oh, I get to, I'm Eric Torres now, right? By just putting on these sunglasses. So like, I think that plays into kind of a broader strategy, which I think that kind of makes their sunglasses a little bit more interesting.
Definitely good to keep an extra pair in your beach bag.
Yep, for sure. So Ashley, I'm going to go to you first on this because you all have had one of them, which is stickers.
Oh, that one's one of my favorite stickers. I'll
put up some of the other ones, but I'll let you kind of speak to the sticker strategy.
Yeah. I think stickers is fun because it's one of those spray and pray, easy to do. Everybody can do stickers. You can just throw whatever brand you want or like whatever like marketing campaign you want on it. You can get creative, and I've seen really boring stickers, but the thing I love about them specifically, and not just about like, and it's a little bit of a different approach, is it brings out more along the lines of like your opportunities with community building and with like social proof and driving engagement, like while you, like in a temporary aspect. So like I'll add to stickers at Write a Boom. We also did tattoos. And so like we had the tattoos and we had the stickers. And so like with MSP Geek, we love the stickers because like you can do stuff like this and just like really identify yourself as like part of a community. And then you're walking around and like people can see like, oh, you're part of this. And so it's a really easy way to like establish your brand and your identity with the people that you're around. But like also play fun with it, right? So like at Roost, we had the tattoos, and I was just like sticking them on everybody's necks, and like everybody was walking around and people thought they were real. They were like, oh, like you're really committed to that brand, right? And so it's fun for that temporary mentality of like, hey, I'm like showing my tribe and we're together, and I can like conversation starters, and people would come up. Actually, there was these one sticker, last anecdote, sorry, but there was this one sticker that we had, and it was actually from a different swag item altogether. We had something where it was like a beer slapping thing, and it said slap my beer and call me, and then a different sticker that you can put on there. There was like tipsy and cocky and like hangry. And I had 5 stickers, and I just put them on people's badges. And then for the rest of the conference, I had people coming up to me going, where do I get one of those stickers? Where can I get that sticker? So the exclusivity there can play into that a little bit too, which is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so we're getting all kinds of comments, and apparently PAX 8 used to do a sticker in every city. I know Gradient did that for a little while.
Yeah.
We're doing that.
Yeah.
If you don't know that, Matt, we do have a sticker series coming up that'll be based on location.
Okay. I didn't know that. And then Alexandria brought up, someone had a water bottle and put the stickers on, which kind of leads me to the next one.
Kelsey.
I was just thinking about that, Matt.
So
that one up there, it's like that's excellent swag.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
I have to say, this is one of the highest quality water bottle, whatever you want, that I've ever seen. So it's Kaseya's. They took all of like the different stickers. A lot of them are from Dado, it looks like. But I mean, it looks like there really are the stickers on there, but it's just a print. But the quality of this is unbelievable, actually. So
I agree. And I know
spared no expense on this. It'll what?
It'll hold 4 cigars. People have come up to my booth and put our cigars in those bottles.
There you go.
They won't get crushed.
That's how you smuggle them into other countries.
On cue, Kelsey. On cue.
That's funny.
So obviously, Mary, you do like this because you have it. It sounds like
that's one of my very favorite items, and it is excellent. A Tervis, and this Nerdio also had a Tervis tumbler that came out at the end, and I was blown away by that. Another excellent cup for your cocktail, for your water.
No, we just stop at cocktail, Mary. We just stop at cocktail.
I'm sorry.
That's all you need.
I should have said coffee first.
But I do think the bar has been set pretty high, not just by Kaseya's one, but like by others in the industry. So that is one area, if you're going to go down this type of route, you can't really go cheap because.
Yeah.
No, so I guess I kind of like, I don't know, Matt, what your plans are, but segues into branded and landed costs, because like that per water bottle, especially that IT Complete one, was probably a lot of money. So my guess would probably, depending on obviously how many they ordered, and they're probably housing them in a warehouse. But if you were to do a small batch order on that, you're probably looking at like $20 to $25 per water bottle, branded and landed. So I think that's a lot of that is something that has to be taken into consideration when you decide what it is that you're going to give out at events, because they can get pricey really, really fast.
Well, I would think this probably, and I don't know what they did with it, but in terms of like, to me, this requires a product demo. You're not just giving away this.
Kind of surprising you have one. I'm sure you were collecting for this purpose, but from what I've seen, they are pretty exclusive with it. Like, you have to have a really good conversation with them, which is smart.
Yeah.
But I would say that's the same.
Oh, sorry, Ashley.
No, I was going to say that's like a good point to like the whole surprise and delight and exclusivity, right? Is like you can avoid waste, and you can be really intentional just by having like small little sections like that you've tucked away and been like, hey, I've got something that maybe might resonate with you or is relevant, or you're a partner, or you're part of our advisory council, or whatever, right?
I do think that you had to have a conversation or like go through the path of IT Complete in order to get one of those. They also, and Matt, I don't know if you took one of these. I don't have it with me because it's in my golf bag, but they had Titleist hats also, which are like,
I'm telling you,
good quality.
It's a Callaway. It is, again, spared no expense. This is a high quality hat.
Yeah, and mine has already gotten, even in the last like 2 months, some serious use on the golf course. So that's
well, and I guess speaking of hats, so I have an Axion hat. I've got an IT Complete hat. Anybody have thoughts on hats? I mean,
so I have thoughts on hats if we're surprised.
Well, Kelsey, you guys. So Kelsey, you'd be actually Mary if you can put on your cowboy hat again. That'd be good. So what I liked about this one is that it was themed around, I think,
it was
the Indiana
Nashville
Jones
and Dallas have been the two
Okay.
times we've done the cowboy hats, which they both feel fitting. Yeah, no, they're a lot of fun. We run into, people, those are a little more temporary in that people want them for whatever the party is, wherever we're having the fun times. But Mary was talking about when we first started this, like getting it home is definitely not easy. We also recently started giving out baseball caps to partners, like the new branding. And we run into people who are like, oh, I'm not a hat guy. Like, I don't want that. So it's kind of like the sunglasses too. It's not for everybody. And I totally understand that, but that's our like exclusive. So that's kind of fun. Like we have something now that we kind of keep set aside, and it's a fun little, oh wait, you actually do get this. I actually also have collected a few of the light up cowboy hats at different events, and I still wear them. I mean, I like cowboy hats. I live in Texas. And they're really fun for concerts, for parties, anything like that. So I use them more than maybe some people have, but I love that Mary has hers and she's been wearing it on and off.
Yeah. So Mary, did you wear it at boot camp?
It's like really so big for me. I would wear it like to a party or something, but
Got it.
You did
not
wear
out
it.
for happy hour.
You did wear it.
I think I saw you. Yeah.
Party, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess one of the questions.
I wore my black one that I took with me to that party.
Yeah. So Kelsey, maybe a question back to you would be, did you have MSP? And I think the answer is yes. You probably did. Did you have MSPs coming back to your booth saying, where's everybody getting the hat and how do I get the hat kind of thing?
Yes. Well, and I took some to that party. So I was walking through the streets of Nashville with this huge stack of light up hats. People were stopping me and they were like, I will pay you for those. We're with a bachelorette party. And I was like, these are for work. No, looking back, I probably should have just taken the money. You should have. But no, and after we passed them all out at the party, people were still finding me and they would be like, I was told you were the person with the hats. And I'm just sorry, we ran out. Like we had 400.
What do you do when another vendor comes with a similar swag item? Because I know Jump Cloud at Robin Robbins also had the white
and Lion Guard too.
I mean, I think it's fun that everybody can wear different ones, like the more variety, the better, the more fun, I actually know I was wearing the green one and Morgan, obviously I'm very close with her. She was like, I'm so sorry. I want to wear the Jump Cloud one because it matches my outfit. And I was like, girl, I don't care. Like we're just wearing light up cowboy hats and having a good time.
That's cute.
So yeah, personally, I don't have a conflict with other people doing the same thing. I think the more the merrier, especially in a place like Nashville.
You got to negotiate that cowboy hat swag exclusivity next year in Nashville. That's what we got to start creating that conversation.
So get it kind of as we sort of talked about that strategy, because again, the hat creates a little bit of buzz, which then gets people coming to your booth, which does give you an opportunity. And, one of the things that they do at events are these treasure hunt things, right? It asks the MSP to go to different different booths. And I think some vendors feel very differently about this. I think I've completely come on to I'm on board for the treasure hunt because I don't care why you came up to my booth. It's a chance for me to change your mind on or tell you what I do. It's the 30 seconds that I wouldn't have gotten potentially otherwise. I mean, Mary, do you usually participate in those treasure hunts or not necessarily?
I think the treasure hunt is great because it like you said, somebody might not come there and it gives you the opportunity to have a conversation and they might see something else that they didn't see before when they walked by quickly. It's going by a few times and it also, somebody that might be a little shy might walk up to a table simply because there's something they're interested in. So I think swag can do a couple of different things. It can create a conversation.
Absolutely. And that might be the first touch too, right? Everybody knows that it can sometimes take several times of somebody hearing your company's name or seeing what you're doing. And sometimes the first one might just be, hey, weren't they the ones with the cool hat? Right. And then the next one is, hey, I remember you were the ones with the cool hat. And then the next one is, tell me what you do. And so, it might take a little bit longer, but it builds that up.
And I think that's something that gets forgotten a lot, is like a lot of, especially when you get really busy at trade shows, it's easy to just like give your shit away. But I think you have to make it worth that conversation. Like they have to engage with you in some sort of aspect in order to get the stamp for their treasure hunt, to get that pair of socks, to get that cowboy hat, which is something I think that can sometimes be overlooked, especially from vendors that have saturated the space a little bit. It's still worth having those conversations, because I think it's something silly now, like almost 40 touches in order to just get like somebody to move from an MQL to an SQL or something like that. So any conversation is important in the sales process.
Totally.
Like,
Yep.
All
So I
part of the
saw.
relationship.
Yep. So I saw Mary put on I think it's a Nodeware shirt. I think I had one of them here. So I've got all kinds of T-shirts. That they're all over the place.
This is my
scale from 1 to
favorite
10.
fabric. This
yeah,
one.
on a
is-
scale
Yes.
from 1 to 10, you got to rate the fabric of every single T-shirt that you're
All right. Well, so, but
This,
so
this fabric is awesome.
this
This
to me
thing is
gets back to
phenomenal.
the value of these, right? Because a lot of people do T-shirts. Partners love wearing their, like, vendors that they're engaged with. They love those. So I guess, I don't know. Like, what do y'all think about overall? Because I think there's some strategies that people have done some really interesting things with the T-shirts. I mean, it is kind of free advertising, right? I mean, I guess that's probably the biggest thing. But would love to hear anybody on
T-shirts
anybody's
and
thoughts
songs.
here.
I think
T-shirts
it's
inside.
the T-shirts.
Yeah.
It has to be a cotton blend. I ranted and raved about this on part 1. Is like, if I ever come across a 100% cotton T-shirt at a trade show again, I'm going to lose my mind. It has to be a cotton blend. You want like the jersey cotton. You can't get them in solid colors. They're always heathered, but you can find it. They're a little bit more expensive.
But they're worth it.
They're so
There's
worth
like this weird balance between how comfortable is the shirt and like I'll forgive like a boring saying or whatever, or how extremely fun is what's the content on the shirt. The one company I think that does a great job on this, it was Huntress at MSP GeekCon. They came out with this shirt that like they put this many copies and that was all it was, and it just said, like, hey hackers, and then it was like F for round and found out on the back, but it wasn't just an F. But like people at this show today or like yesterday were coming up to me being like, help me figure out how I get one of those shirts. And it was like, you had to be at the show. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
people are just like, ah.
Yeah.
really
I think
funny.
you can have fun shirts that are soft. Just everybody has to think about it. Like,
Yes.
just take a breath and take a moment.
Finn has the softest T-shirt I've ever put on. Their Pokemon one. It feels like
They
a
also have one of the scratchiest I've ever put on.
That's
though.
true,
I'm saying
yes.
so much to Connor about that.
Well, so yeah,
You want
thank
this shirt?
Mary
I said,
for
no,
that.
your other one's scratchy, buddy.
yeah. Brad Powell gave me one from Hook Security. It's a very soft T-shirt, and Unitrends MSP had this one back in the day that basically I sleep in at night with. It is so damn comfortable. But this is my question. So outside of the raving fans who support their vendor or whatever, does giving somebody a comfortable T-shirt mean anything in terms of them doing business with you if you're just a prospect and you gave away a nice T-shirt? Like, does it actually turn around into business?
Depends on the person.
I think that one's tough.
That is
because
a tough question.
I think,
It might
like
depend on
Mary-
the individual.
Yeah, like, I mean, you love swag, so I'm sure that you have some T-shirts in your arsenal that are not vendors that you work with closely, but you like the shirt. But I think a lot of MSPs probably would not rep a shirt for a product that they don't love.
But they might in their own home. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like rock my Unitrends MSP thing out in, like, outside just because it's just a shirt. I don't generally wear industry shirts outside anyways.
No,
But
I'm actually.
I know
shocked
MSPs do
that
though. Yeah.
have shirts outside of a channel program polo.
If they're unique to my identity or my community's identity, or they've done some sort of branding that relates and says, here's who I am and here's what I stand for, even if I don't know their brand, I will wear their shirt.
Mhm.
I really like having all of my industry shirts for workouts. Like, I think those are super easy to work out in. You know, I'm just doing chores and errands for the day. Like, that's kind of what I save. And sleeping. I always have some sort of other vendor shirt in my suitcase. But back to the logistics, I despise shipping t-shirts. The boxes get so heavy. Or the bell curve of ordering sizes, you never have enough of one size and you always have way too many of another. Like, that part of t-shirts is just miserable. Of course, it's fun when they go like hotcakes though, because I'm like, great, I don't have to ship these back home. But we've also, you know, people will be like, oh, I want to get this for my kids, or oh, I want to take some back to my techs in my office. So even if maybe they're not the ones wearing the shirt, there's still a chance for somebody to be wearing it somewhere. I mean, kids, I don't know what movement you're going to get there.
Yeah,
but
Mary, you really have every piece of swag in the industry.
Literally.
Well, I work part-time at Lowe's and I wear one of these shirts every day. You know,
that's so funny.
Red vest is something MSP going on. So
in terms of shirts, so if there's a bunch of vendors on this call because I see y'all commenting. If you're going to do shirts, obviously cotton, obviously make it like something MSPs want. Pay the extra $1 to band your t-shirts because like nothing's worse than like having to sift through a box of t-shirts to try and find sizes. I have completely stopped shipping shirts to shows as much as y'all love your instant gratification. I think that I'm moving towards more of like the swag store concept where when it comes to shirts, you get to pick your size, you get to pick whatever slogan or saying you want on it, and then it just ships directly to your house. It ends up pretty much coming out in the wash in terms of like costing per shirt branded and landed. But it kind of takes out that logistical nightmare that Kelsey was mentioning in terms of like lugging multiple boxes of shirts through the hotel lobby.
Yep.
Or your apartment living room.
Well, probably an easier supply chain sustainability conversation around that whole piece too.
Yeah. Plus,
eliminating waste.
Forced to give me legitimate information because you're going to want confirmation update and you're going to want it shipped to your office or your home properly. So from a lead generation perspective, it just makes more sense.
Yeah. And while not solving the answer of sustainability, Gavin mentioned that he'll usually turn it into a good rag for cleaning. And Helen mentioned it's always a car wash shirt. So
that hurts my heart.
People are
hurts my heart a little bit.
Reusing the products. Frank, you're making me jump ahead because I know socks is a conversation. I want to talk about socks, but I do want to mention one other thing with t-shirts real quick. I have seen some really interesting strategies. IT Glue definitely did this. I think Crew also did it. We did it with Bullfish when we launched Bullfish at ID Agent, which was where you have to wear our t-shirt on this day to get a live drawing for $1,000, whatever. But it creates a freaking army of MSPs wearing your shirt, whether they're a partner or not. And I just think that is a good strategy, Rahana t-shirt.
WiseThink's been doing that forever.
Who has? WiseThink?
WiseThink did that like forever. I remember they used to be like, oh, if you see us, if we see you wearing our shirt, we'll just give you this $50 card.
Yep. Yeah, the CyberFox stuff goes fast for sure.
CyberFox, I just barely got this shirt. I'm so happy.
All right. All right. So I know we can't not talk about socks. I got, I think, a Pia sock and Nerdio socks here. Well, I guess, so we all know socks are really popular. Do the women care about socks? Because these are generally men's socks, right?
I love socks.
I love those.
The socks are so big on me.
But are socks, are these kind of socks unisex or?
So you can order socks. I think they normally come in like 2 general sizes. So again, I have a lot of opinions about socks. If you're going to do them, do not do printed socks because then like anybody that has like bigger calves or anything, like it just totally gets distorted. Go knitted socks. They're more important. Depending on how much you order, though, you're looking at like $12 to $14 per sock, like branded and landed. But socks do give you the opportunity to like also brand the tag and the packaging, which is kind of like an added bonus. But I know that you can order like size ranges. So there's like, I don't know, like 5 to 9 and then like 9 to 12 or whatever. But I always find that the socks are just like so massive on me.
Do you wear them with your boots?
no, as a Canadian, I should wear socks in all of my footwear. I hate socks personally
hate
in my
socks.
everyday life. I mean, yes, people could do that, I guess.
Again, a personal preference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the opposite on that. I need to be wearing socks. I'm wearing Goot socks right
I
now.
feel like you're a sock stan or you're not. I mean, I
Yeah.
wear flip flops pretty much all year round, so I don't wear socks that often.
I like socks for getting them home. You know, you can always fit a pair of socks in your suitcase. And then also shipping, like they're so much cheaper to ship. You don't have the sizing issue. I do know they do come in the 2 sizes, but
Yeah.
I like them because it's just small. It's easy for people to take home. And then I do love whenever, you know, somebody walks up to your booth and like pulls up their pant leg and they're like, look what socks I'm wearing right now. That's always
Or they
so
take
fun.
off their shoes and they're literally putting your socks on in front of your booth because they're so excited to receive them. We had people doing that with Avix socks all the time.
Oh, I love that.
I think though too with socks, they are another one of those like high value items that like deserve a little bit more of like an in-depth conversation than something like a
koozie,
charging cable or a koozie or something like that. Yeah.
All right. So
What about backpacks?
Oh, God.
I didn't bring any of those home with me.
Yeah, they're
but-
just so hard to get home. They're so hard to get home.
Yeah,
I found like if you know there's going to be one and you can prep accordingly and then you are ready to bring a backpack home, it's great. But otherwise, it's just a headache.
Also, again, it goes
backpack
really
in
like
backpack.
back to quality. Like unless
Yeah.
you're spending like a lot of money on a backpack that someone's going to lug around for the next like 10 to 12 months, sometimes they are a little bit of a those like end up in a
Yeah.
closet item.
I think they may be better suited for like if you're doing a partner lunch and learn and
Yeah.
you have like
Yeah.
very specific ones that you're
Specified.
inviting to that.
Or
I saw Vanahai just came out with a pretty cool one where it has
nice.
an outlet
Yeah,
like an outlet for charging.
yeah, I think they just did that for. I don't know if that was a giveaway item or if they just did it for.
No, I don't think it's a giveaway. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I
But,
saw a post about it.
Or if you're throwing your own conference, like obviously it's another opportunity for you to like get all your vendors together to like put swag items in your branded backpack.
Yeah.
Also a great opportunity for you to get sponsors to pay for your backpack because they'll want their logo on it. I don't think in any conference I've personally paid for backpacks. I get someone else to pay for them.
Yeah.
Which is always nice. But again, you got to like pick something that is going to be like functional. And like Dado went through a string of backpacks that ended up, if you shoved them full of stuff too much, like you couldn't even carry them as a human being. They were so heavy. I remember I took one, I think it was like 2017. I got it in Denver and I took it to Europe and ended up packing it like way too full. And it was like the bane of my existence for like the few weeks that I was there.
I like this idea. Differentiate, do a fanny pack.
We intentionally did a really nice backpack for MSP GeekCon, and we had that discussion around like, do we do a backpack or not? Because so many people get them, but we decided to do it because we had so many people who had never been to the event before or who'd never been to a event before.
Yeah.
That like this would be their first kind of nice swag, and so we were intentional about that. But I think next year we'll do something different than a bag because of that. We'll kind of rotate through something a little bit more interesting, right? But
Yeah, plus
it's a great bag.
Yeah, plus with MSP GeekCon, we had so many techs on the volunteer committee that you were able to like really pick an item that you knew was going to be popular. I have to touch base on Mary's comment.
I like that idea.
I lose wet dry bags all the time paddleboarding, and I feel like this is a swag item I need to see more of. I need to start collecting them because they're like the number one item that I end up.
I agree. I was like, I need one of those right now, actually, for the gym.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I'm taking a stance on this preemptively. I'm saying complete freaking waste of money. I understand.
Unless it's the Dado pen.
This the Dado pen that's now the IT Complete. I love the pen. I think it has zero value in terms of ROI, and it is. And if we're going to have the sustainability conversation, it is a complete waste to me. So I'm taking that stance. You guys take it however you want.
My business partner if she takes the pen and she'll go like this and she'll pop that right off and she'll throw it in the garbage.
Yeah, I'm the same
Okay.
way. I fidget with pens all the time.
So do I. I break almost every pen.
Yeah.
I think there's a weird necessary evil with pens because if there was none of them, we would be like, where are all of our pens? Because we just don't realize that we throw them in our bags and stuff, but there's too many of them.
Well,
Yeah.
Can we just agree Datto came out with the best pen originally and they get to stay? They get,
Yeah.
they're the pen people of the conference.
You can break the clip on that pen still, and I have thrown them out multiple times for the exact same reason. But it is literally the same pen. But I think Nodeware has that pen now too, because we did the pen test.
They do, and
Yeah, and I could not differentiate the two, even though like I died on the hill that they were not the same.
So Solutions Granted actually has a pen that has like a screwdriver in it. It has a compass, a flashlight, all these other things. The screwdriver comes in so much handy setting up the booth. Like I have one in my backpack just for when I'm setting up the booth because like we've got like tiny little screws somewhere. I always love when they're at a show because I'm like, oh, I need another screwdriver pen.
Mary, I didn't even need to bring swag to this event. You could have just done it all. You've got it.
This was from something else, but this is a very useful thing to have.
Yeah.
Very useful.
All right. Well, Kevin did bring up a good point because I used to have people sign ID agent contracts in person with an ID agent pen. So there's some there's some use cases, but I think ID agent's the only one who makes you at that time sign a physical contract. But
Yeah, you at the bar with your pocket full of contracts.
well, so actually, I'm interesting. So this person, I was just about to also come out against this, which is that's built into a pen, but I'm not going to show the company's name, which is it's a back scratcher. It has use. I just don't know if it's worth. Mary, you have the actual thing.
I thought
too.
it was a garden tool at first, and then it
Like a
was
Zen garden.
That's
it.
So I don't know.
For the right crowd, it is.
undecided.
For the back scratching crowd, I mean, I know we're all everybody has a back scratch. Is somebody actually keep this around? I don't know. Maybe they do.
It could be a really cute marketing thing in that, we scratch your back, you scratch ours type thing.
I like
but,
that.
it's easily forgotten once you leave that conversation.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got some love for back scratchers.
What about little journals? Do we like those?
Yeah. So
I love
Mary-
journals.
yeah. So we got Nerdio, QuickPass had one, or CyberQP now.
Fabulous.
So
We don't have notebooks now.
these are very high quality though. Like these are nice. But
Food.
it is a lot of paper. It is a lot of paper there, Kelsey.
It is. And I do know, to bring up Morgan again, she completely filled hers up. She used it all the way. Like she sent me a picture when she got to the last page and she was like, I need another one. And I was like, oh girl, we're not reordering those. But I prefer a spiral bound notebook. So those have no use to me. Like I have a green QuickPass one on my desk that I've never written anything in because I prefer my spiral bound. But I have it for like nostalgia's sake.
Yeah. I'm also a spiral bound notebook girl. So a lot of the ones at the trade shows like do nothing for me.
Yeah. And like I have my own notebook that comes everywhere with me. Like, and it's big, wide, like I don't like the little ones. So personally, notebooks aren't for me. But they're really good on our side. Like, we've learned, especially right before things get started, people are like, oh, I need to write stuff down. I need something before I go into the session. Having a pen and a notebook at your booth, in that sense, they're taking it with them and then they're sitting there writing. Then somebody else is like, oh, I need a notebook. Where'd you get that? So we have found there is value in having them at shows.
For
Like
sure.
that balance with practicality and creativity and
Yeah.
How do we feel about? Oh, go ahead, Caitlin. Before you.
I was just going to say there's so much talk about chip clips and I'm part of like this other group chat.
Yes,
this
Tom
chat.
Wyatt wants chip clips.
Oh my
So
God,
bad.
Tom and his chip clips. And now, it's not, I think Dean's in that chat. Maybe Dean's doing Tom's
The,
chip clip.
the crowd is liking chip clips.
People want chip clips.
Do you? I know.
Here's the thing.
Odd item.
Well, yeah, but it's like one of those items that's like you always can use another chip clip.
I feel like chip clips and wine openers maybe are just something that like we're missing in the industry right now because
Also,
I never have a bottle opener ever.
See, I feel like that. See,
I think that's a great idea, Caitlin.
I got a bunch of bottle openers here, but I feel like how many
Again,
bottle openers can one person have? Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
know.
Also, like wine. I'm not. I'm not popping Budweisers on the weekend. Like I need like
But
wine.
is the MSP audience a beer drinking community or a
Yeah.
wine drinker?
Well,
Yeah,
that's where
or
you
like
play into the relevance and like
Right.
dedicated.
bourbon or whatever. Like I don't
that's
know.
true,
The
right?
classic like pop top ones just aren't.
Has
for me.
anybody ever seen a little flask for swag? I think that might be a good idea.
There has been people that have done flasks, and for some reason I can't think of the companies off the top of my head right now.
I've
Yeah, I
also
don't-
seen the like flat ones that could also be for water,
Yeah,
whatever, but
maybe.
people use them as flasks.
Yeah, well, kind of the opposite of a flask, which is I thought this was a creative idea. I've seen a few people do. Scale pad, be good to yourself. It was a wellness kit for
Yeah.
after you
That's
after you've
awesome.
drank everything in the
I
flask.
feel like I personally needed that in Nashville. Where was that at the booth?
I have
Gavin,
so many of those in my suitcase.
Yeah,
Like I make my own.
Those are great.
US Gavin Stone, the credit card size bottle opener, you can get those and you can't take them through security.
I was gonna
anymore.
say
At
you
the
get in
airport,
trouble
I
at
don't think.
security
So
with
that's the
these.
problem.
Those
They
are
were like
nice.
these metal
Oh,
things
okay.
that had like a little slicer and
Yep.
like a bottle opener and like a little ruler.
I had a
those things
Dado
are
one get
cool.
taken away.
So
Yep.
sounds like
Socksetter.
Bitdefender does flasks, Socksetter does flasks.
The one thing relevancy wise from like this conference specifically, we had the keynote at Secure where the guy came in and he was talking about all of the ways that he can break into your stuff. And like even just like with RFIDs and like your cards for your hotels. And
just
I was
gonna
like,
say
I
that.
want an RFID blocking like thing to sleeve to stick my hotel room key in that I can stick on the back of my badge and just put. And then I can just remember, I'm always forgetting where my room key is. And now I'm worried about people cloning it.
That's
feel-
funny. I just had that on my list to say that card would be
Yeah.
great swag.
I lose hotel keys. I swear to God, Marriott's got to start charging me for hotel keys at some point. Like I just go through so many, and now I just use the digital key though. But
Like this, but for the back of your badge would be like so cool.
yeah,
Just like stick it there.
So not
Yeah.
related. So is there a UK Gavin Stone? Is that why Gavin put
There
you at?
This
Okay,
is
I
US
thought so.
Gavin,
I
yeah.
thought there was. Are they both here?
no,
They will
I
both
think
Okay.
just-
I just think US version.
Okay. So I think we've talked about themes and things like this. So I think this was actually put on by Robin Robbins'
Yeah.
team, TMT, and I know you, Kelsey, you all were part of this. So I think they're shot glasses.
Yeah.
I actually think it kind of played into if you know Indiana Jones, because it was a kind of a play on the Raiders of the Big Profits. I thought it kind of reminded me of like the Indiana Jones 3, where you have to pick the one cup to drink from. So I thought it played into the theme, but I don't think
Yeah,
they were.
They did that. We didn't. And we were just pleasantly surprised by it, and they were cute.
But it was also part of kind of like a treasure hunt kind of thing, right? Because if they went to all four of you, or I don't know how many
Yeah.
where there were, but yeah.
Yeah, those four, and then they could like go to the whiskey tasting. It was a really good creative thing by them. They are really cute. I'd say.
Yeah, so I think that gets back to, this is the type of activity to me is worth spending money at an event because it drives people because it's a participatory type of thing
Yeah.
versus like a cocktail napkin or something like that where it has your logo. So
I also think that there's like a huge subset of our community that collects things like that, like
Yeah.
keychains, magnets, shot glasses.
So some people understand my Indiana Jones reference. I know, Caitlin, you don't know anything that existed
I've never
before.
seen a single Indiana Jones
Me neither.
movie. I showed up at the conference and I was like, what is going on here? Why are there so many rubber bugs around the place?
Yeah, like when I'm sure there's others, and Kelsey probably included, who didn't know who Carl Lewis was, even though he's won 9 gold medals and was one of the most decorated track and field athletes ever. Yeah, Caitlin was like, I don't know who this is.
I also think though that that's just because I'm also Canadian and we just don't care
No,
about
I know.
the same way that Americans do.
I don't have that excuse.
I think you just might be too young, hun.
All right. How do we feel about a yo-yo?
Mary's got feelings.
Yeah.
I got the yo-yo. I like the yo-yo.
Are they a
Always
good
pretty
yo-yo,
good at
though?
it doing a yo-yo.
I don't think I'm
yo-yo?
the determining person on whether a yo-yo is a good. I think
Good
this is
thing to
good
bring
if
to my kid.
to bring to a kid. I'm not sure I see too much value other than that.
I
Yeah.
liked yo-yos as a kid, and I could do tricks. It is fun to watch. Like sometimes there's someone at the booth who, like an MSP who can do really fun tricks. And, like that's awesome. But yeah, once you get home, I mean,
that's a give it to your kid kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
And again, I think that's something that a lot of vendors have to take into consideration. Like the swag items that you're spending money on technically shouldn't be landing in the hands of your children. Like, so I think that gets overlooked a lot in terms of like when people pick things out, like great, they're cool, they're fun, but like you're going to put it in your bag. You're never going to look at it again. And then when you need like a password security company, like you're not rummaging through your children's toy box to like remember CyberQP.
I think this is also a fidget type situation, you know, like the spinner. So when you're sitting at your desk, it gives you something, maybe instead of smoking, if you're trying to quit, that it could be used as a, people need to do something with their hands.
Yeah, lots of people smoking right in their office, just like madmen.
There's something to be said about the use.
Fondle the yo-yo. What about food, you guys?
Well, I was just going to say, on the note of things going to your kids, you know, we have beach balls. And I know a lot of people have the beach balls. And so many times people will be like, oh, I'm taking this home to my kid. I'm taking this. But I've also seen quite a few, you know, they blow them up in the office and they've got them going around. They send us pictures. They're like, oh, it's this guy's birthday. We covered his desk in beach balls. But people send me pictures of their kids with the beach balls too. And they're like, this was so fun. Thanks for having this.
Yeah.
Is that typically a partner though, Kelsey, or a prospect?
Typically partners. Yeah.
So that's what I get back to. I think there's a whole conversation, and we probably frankly don't have enough time to talk about. I think there is a big difference in pleasing your partners with swag versus prospects. And I think to Caitlin's point, if it ends up with a kid, was it effective then? If it's a partner, maybe. Because of that.
There's a psychological emotion that has been tied to this, though, and now these people are remembering you as somebody from the community who is thinking beyond just the transaction that you're doing with them. You've now established that human trust and relationship. And so like I see a lot of MSPs who like are only going to look for the good swag to bring to their kids. And then, you know, like that, it is a little bit of a longer tail, but there's a strategy behind that. And the same with, you know, like wives, or even like just tying in relevance to who you're engaging with, right? Like one of my favorite pieces of swag is the little bag holder that Cynthia gave me once. Like, and it was like a specific to people who carry purses, and like you just she had it tucked under the thing and it wasn't out, and it was like, oh hey, you might appreciate this, right? And it was like, I wasn't a partner, but there is a level of that should go into your strategy when you're talking about swag as well.
So
what Gavin said, like he said, part of the reason my kids let me go is that I bring home swag for them. So I remember my grandma coming home from trade shows with swag. Like we were always so excited for the chapstick and pens.
Yeah. So listen, I definitely see your point, Ashley. I see your point, Gavin, US version. I can see both sides of it. Again, those emotional attachments, important, because I do believe truly any vendor should be building personal relationships. Business will come after that. But I think those types of items still require a conversation. And a lot of people will just rotate through the trade show floor on like the last day, like picking stuff up and be like, this is for my kids. And like, those are not representative of the.
Well, that's what I would say.
An object is just an object. If somebody
these are just, to me, these are just objects. Yes, they're playable for a kid, but I don't know that there's as much.
I do know some vendors who collect those.
Look, there's going to be exceptions to everything. I mean, there's always going to be somebody who likes something, but yeah, I mean, I do think like as a vendor, we all have to like really consider the costs that are going into, you know, I think even today has me rethinking a lot of things, and it's like, all right, one piece of swag should be focused on just getting somebody's attention to get them over there. Yeah. Then you get into, okay, here's a demo, you get this type of product, and you obviously have to figure out if you can afford to give away a $20 or $25 thing in order to get a demo.
Tool, it's a tool in your arsenal, and it's how you use it.
Right.
That matters. Yeah.
And it does go back to that ROI aspect of events. Like if you are spending $25 on a water bottle and an MSP is interested in that water bottle enough to sit in on like a half an hour demo with you for it, like you're going to hope that person eventually becomes a partner and the water bottle is going to pay for itself. But Yeah, Gavin, you're killing me with your comments.
All right, so here I joined Michael. Did we address a cell phone holder on the desk? So I actually have one, I think, here, Beachhead Secure. It's kind of one of those. So I've seen some fancier versions of that. Anybody have any thoughts? I mean, I have used. See, this is my point. This gets back to a point. There was I'd had one of these on my desk for years, and I can't even tell you what vendor it was.
Something about pigs flying. That's all I remember from mine.
That's my point. So like that gets back to some of the stuff we think is psychological, and I couldn't tell you. This thing sat on my thing for years, and I used it, and don't even know what vendor it was because I wasn't interested in their product in the first place.
Like getting an app for yourself, right? Like you're only, if you put it on your phone but then don't touch it or don't engage, or like that might be a horrible example, but it's really about how you then follow up or how you're using that to bring people in.
Yeah. I think, again, it kind of like the hats, for example, that Kelsey did, like ties into the event. It has a campaign strategy around it. Yeah. You guys sponsored the Jason Aldean bar. The point was there. Like, how are you tying a cell phone holder back to marketing in any way, shape, or form? I don't know. Maybe that's just like the lead generation side of me is just kind of like everything has to have a story. Like it can't just be for the sake of being there. Like the flashlights, for example, Ashley, that we did for Traffic Insights. Like that's a perfect example. We created a whole campaign around it. It had a story. There was a reason people wanted these keychain flashlights tied into a product launch. Like the polar bears had a story. Networks were scary. Polar bears are not scary. They're fluffy and cute. And Avik is fluffy and cute. So I think that there just has to be some like critical thinking around swag, opposed to like Barracuda actually at Kaseya Connect. I don't know if anybody stopped by the Barracuda booth, but I swear to God, these people unpacked swag for what felt like 4 hours. I thought they were done. And then like another box of like some sort of random object would come up and I'd be like,
are you sure that wasn't us with the flashlights? Like, also every single one, and they were not even, that was one of those things where it's like we had the great intention and then it just fell flat because they
but Barracuda specifically had like no demo screens, no TVs, and I'm not calling out Barracuda specifically, they're just an example, but there was like no real like salesy thing happening in their booth. It was just a table of stuff. And people came and they had conversations and they got to pick they went swag shopping and it was great. But like, what's the strategy there aside from like just throwing money away on like shipping and items and all of that stuff?
Well, what if you had four things and you had to pick? Yeah. So like you could be like, come have a conversation. And now here's an option. Pick one of these things you want.
That's what IT Complete did. So I think you got to pick the water bottle or you got to pick the Callaway hat. Or depending on the conversation, you got multiple items. And I thought that was really great because they are high value items, which is worth the extended conversation or sitting in on a demo or whatever it is that they're doing.
Yeah. So I want to get to this conversation because I think it's important. Mikey, thank you for suggesting. Can we get into how you decide on a vendor budget per event? Does anybody any of the vendor people have any insights on that? I don't know if you guys are that closely tied to that part or not.
I mean, from my personal experience in ordering swag is you kind of pick swag items for a chunk of time. It's not per an event, unless it's more so like an IT Nation or back when DattoCon was like much bigger. Unless you're doing something like specific for that, you're usually ordering swag for like a quarter or the first half or second half of the year. Yeah. And that's solely to keep your costs down, obviously, because you're going to order like a significant amount up front. Yeah. In terms of like determining budget, I always underpacked swag. And then it was just kind of like a conversation you'd have with the vendor partners, or you'd say like you'd ship one-offs if they were a really good partner or a new business acquired at the booth. And the only reason is because nothing is worse than getting stuck with a bunch of swag at the end of the event and not only having to like ship it home or having people that you are giving it away to that maybe aren't having those high value conversations. So Mikey, I'm more than happy to have like a further in-depth convo about this if you'd like, but that was kind of like my strategy. It's always really worked. It also kind of creates that like exclusivity a little bit. Yeah. People come and have those conversations with you early on in the event. in hopes to get like those items that they know really go fast. And that specifically happened with our socks all the time. Even the anteater version of our socks at Avik went like so fast because people just knew to come and get them.
Well, and I think too, ordering, I'm ordering 500 of these, for the next however until we run out. You also kind of test how well people take them, like, okay, these didn't do super well. We're not going to reorder those. But like for us, the cigars were a one-time thing that we had a couple extra. So we brought them to the next show and then people started expecting it. And now we have them at every show because people asked for it and wanted them. So our cigar guy just keeps giving us more.
Yeah, which is true because we ordered, I think, 1,500 webcam covers at Avik, and I would not be surprised if there's still 750 of them sitting in the closet in Waterloo, where like from 6 years ago.
You know what I'm still seeing on bags from Avik today, even at this conference, were those bag taggage things. Those were
which we
talk about ROI.
Yeah, which we also just did as like a limited run, and they ended up going really fast, but then they got added to the swag store. So if instead of a t-shirt, they wanted a luggage tag, again, those luggage tags, the Find Me company that they use, it's a Montreal company, but it's a phenomenal item. And I still see the ones that we did at IT Glue too, like well before I left in 2016. There's some people that still have them and they look ragged, but people are still using them and they're super beneficial. And they're low cost. Like I think those only are like $8 to $10 a piece. And that's completely branded on a card, shipped, landed, everything.
So much branding space on that card too. Like you can put whatever you want.
Huge.
Yeah. Go ahead.
ConnectWise at Evolve last month, it was in Texas, so it was kind of Western themed. They had leather luggage tags that you could customize. You hammer the whatever you want into it. And that honestly, like I typically wouldn't take a luggage tag, but because I got to personalize it, like Mary, Morgan, and I all did like a similar one. And then they stained it. You could put flowers, hearts, smiley faces. And like I put it on my backpack. Like typically I wouldn't put a ConnectWise luggage tag on my stuff, but I got to personalize it. So that was really fun. And obviously I'm a vendor, but like from a standpoint of having a conversation, like someone standing there creating something, like that's perfect conversation time. So really liked that.
Yeah. I know the webcam covers came up and I know there was some hateration in the chat about those. But that being said, I mean, I have my SAS alerts one on there. I mean, people do use them. The problem is once you have one, you don't need
another.
That's kind of the issue. But
if you have a MacBook, you can't actually put them on because your screen doesn't close.
Okay. And last thing I wanted to mention about budget. So Mike, I did try to do some research around this, and the numbers I was seeing was between 5 and 7% of a marketing budget for vendors goes towards swag. So that that was what I found. Some up to 10%. 10% seems like a lot, but
I mean, 10%. If we were going at our Avik budget, that's like $150,000 a year on swag. Like, how do you even spend that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's
it with the leads too, right? Like, how much per?
Yeah.
And also, like, another thing that has to be taken into consideration with budget is there is partner success budget and the money you should be spending on nurturing your customers in terms of like swag, brand and items, like make them feel good stuff. And then there is new customer acquisition, lead generation, MQLs, SQLs budget. And I think that does have to be collaborative because they do have to tell a story. I know for a long time we used socks only for partners. That's the only way you could get a sock. Towels, same thing, which were also a huge hit, branded and landed, also very, very inexpensive, but quality is important, obviously. But having those like exclusive items kind of straddles like both areas. So it's something a lot of companies need to take into consideration.
And talking about the collaboration piece too, right? With towels, like I think we saw a couple companies do that where it's like they co-branded a towel, and like that's something really cool that you could do if you're coming out with an integration, talking about exclusivity, right? Like you're not going to get that anywhere else.
Yeah, and I think there's a few people on this call actually that have a Barracuda Frankly MSP Live towel from only doing the polar plunge. Like only the people that did the polar plunge have that towel, which was completely paid for by Barracuda, but was co-branded for Avik and Frankly MSP Live. So lots to take into consideration.
And I know we're
Little
coming up with,
golfing towels are nice.
yeah,
They
definitely.
people see them and they see your brand, they see your logo, and something happens and that might stick in their mind.
Yeah.
The beach ball the same way. It's out in public being used.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would love somebody to do a branded golf towel for my golf bag because I also use those all the time.
So I know we're kind of at the top of the hour here. This one idea, I would say, with a disclaimer as we kind of close out, there could be opportunities to also team up with other vendors, and you sort of create your own little treasure hunt unofficially. Because and the reason I say unofficially is because you got to be careful that that's at your own risk, because that could go against the conference that you're participating in their rules and regulations. So you would need to be careful about that, how that goes about. But you could do maybe some type of theme with some other vendors potentially. So Mary, I'm going to let you kind of have the last word here, because you've got all the swag behind you. I guess, is there?
I did it. I did a lot of it for this event. I had a lot of fun. We're coming up with ideas that we want to use, as an MSP, and we've only done a couple of things. You put your drink on it, a coaster.
Yeah.
And a little magnet. I mean, they're very simple, but somebody hacks into your stuff and you look at your desk and there it is. There's the phone number.
Yeah.
That's kind of my logic. So I'm looking for the perfect swag for Bell Tech services. And believe me, I'll be very excited to introduce it to you guys, because you'll all have to have your favorite item. So,
exactly.
Awesome. I have one question though,
sure.
And I want your opinion. What do you think about soap that has the logo that's embossed on it, so that you see it every time you're showering? Would that stick with somebody?
All your shower thoughts coming out. Yeah.
I don't know. That's my last thought.
I'm so picky about soap too,
right,
though. Like
yeah.
my everyday life, just
fragrance allergies.
Oh yeah, it would have to be nice. So.
Be tough. That one would be tough, especially once you get into like those nicer soaps. You're probably looking at like a lot of money. But again, like that could be a great partner.
A good partner, yeah.
It's like a whole like spa day kind of
put you at ease.
You'd have a theme
business type situation. Yeah.
Can we cue the drums for Gavin? U.S. Gavin.
Seems like it would be. That's perfect.
Oh God.
And so, well, Helen, that's a good example. I mean, Helen receives soap. Yeah, picky, would never use it, but it smells good. So I think it's a risky one, just because of the individualness of people and how they use their soap, probably.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's something to be said for home swag versus office swag. Like there are some things that's like, yeah, if I worked in an office, I would take that, but because I work from home, like I don't want it. Yeah. I don't want this big branded thing. The first thing that comes to mind is the Robin Snuggie. When I did work at a vendor that was in the office, it was great. We all kept them at our desks and stuff. But now that I'm at home, I'm just like, I've got blankets. Like, I don't need a Robin Snuggie.
Yeah. That would have been so good though for 2019 boot camp. I remember it being in the convention center and I was freezing. There's actually a promo video and you scan past the Ovid booth and I'm like in a parka, which was great and on brand also for that time. But it was like May and I was so cold. I would have like lived in a Snuggie. Like
I think that's why she gives them away now.
Yeah. She loves to have her like conference set it a cool 60 degrees American. So
well, and I'm going to try to bring it up real quick. Just to give them a shout out, because obviously all the swag was done at Robin Robbins boot camp. So I wasn't able to take this home because I had so much swag with me, but I wanted to share on the screen. I just think this was so cool for them, what they did in terms of giving these to the vendors.
Oh, yeah.
So this was a whole vendor kit that they gave. The food is always welcome, right? I mean, who doesn't want some snacks and things like that? But the most useful things are like when they provide you packing tape and
utility knife,
things like that. So and they did it. They presented it. You can't really see it in this, but in a really cool, like branded, like Indiana Jones themed thing. So they just went the extra mile with that. I just thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, I think I have that candle somewhere actually in my house, and that Cliff Bar I just ate 2 weeks ago out of my purse.
Maybe that's where you can get your pen.
Yeah, there you go.
I always appreciate when the vendors are taken care of with a cute little swag box like that.
And honestly, Robin Robbins is probably the best in the industry at doing that. I absolutely love seeing like the branded kits every year when we go to boot camp and kind of like the fun stuff. The candle was a nice surprise. It was like fun branded, like custom scent for their theme. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so we've gone over time. This was very fun. We'll
So much
definitely
fun.
continue to do it, and we'll see how things evolve. I think the overarching theme is that swag without strategy is a waste of money. It's got to be done with strategy. But I think a challenge to all of us is some stuff around the sustainability, right? Not causing more waste in for everyone.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Caitlin, any final thoughts before we close it out?
No, this is always one of like my favorite webinars that we do every year. So I really appreciate the three of you being a part of it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
And the audience. I mean,
and the
so
audience,
much interaction.
Very interactive.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Super scared to do swag now because of the people in the audience really critical, but
2024 soap.
Yeah, no soap. Got it. Unless it's window soap. But no, this was really good. And I think we should do these more often, but
yeah, it just depends on, I guess, if there's new items to evaluate.
IT Nation would be a good one to do swag at. You have 95 people to grab items.
That's true.
Like a tech bar.
All right. Challenges out, people. IT Nation, we are definitely gonna be there. So get
bring
your swag.
Best.
Yeah, bring it out.
Your best or risk being criticized on this call in December.
Yeah, in that one, we're gonna actually put your name out there.
I like it, and for that, like that's Christmas themed, like that's so fun.
Make it a competition, like one of those what do you call it? Halloween pumpkin carving contests.
Oh my god!
Your swag is on display, and people go.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that actually did make me think of, and this is why we'll have to just end this because we could just keep going. But I feel like IT Glue at one of their glue cons back in the day did this like Lego thing where if you went to each booth, you got a different piece of a Lego, and it was like a treasure hunt thing, and eventually you created a Lego something.
Yeah.
I'm like that at MSP Con.
Yeah. And shout out to Ninja RMM because they used to let you go to their booth and create your own little Lego person.
They still are. Yeah. They were doing that at Geekon.
Super cute. Yeah. That's a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
You know what would be fun, you guys, is to have a party where everybody, all the attendees have to swag up, wear all their swag, stuff that they wouldn't otherwise wear or use, bring it and use it. That would be fun.
That's the theme. That's the
All
theme.
Right. I think Dean just came up with a great idea, Caitlin.
Dean, thank you for putting more work on my plate. I
guess the only challenge is it would have to be different, swag. There'd have to be new items and stuff, but I kind of like it. There's no reason we couldn't do it.
I do like potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your best chance at winning this is if it's themed, if it's somehow related to the overarching theme of the event.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
love it.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you all. Mary, you're definitely the MVP today. You brought all the swag. So thank you. Thank you for participating with us. And no, thank you to everybody, Ashley, Kelsey, and Caitlin as well. And of course, everybody back home. So
thanks,
have a swag-tastic day.
There you go. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Bye.